Just remind people that it is a worldwide recession that we are hopefully coming out of. There are some economic indicators that look like we're kind of turned the corner on this thing, and hopefully the economy will start recovering, which means revenues coming into the state to provide the services that we provide will expand as well. But we've been in a recession. The 9/11 biennial budget was reduced by $12 billion, actually, that we had to address. Not totally in reductions. There was some federal money to help fill the gap, but roughly in real reductions, there was about $5 billion in cuts from the based on the caseload and the needs from the 07-09 biennium to 9/11. So you have to keep that in mind. The cuts that were already made in the previous biennium, the cuts that will be made to balance out what's remaining in the 9/11 biennium until June 30th. That will be done early on in the session, the 2011 session. Then, trying to balance out, the big task of balancing out the 11-13 biennial budget, which by estimations is somewhere between a $5 billion to $6 billion problem, with no ability to no reliance on federal assistance to help us out. There may be some, but I don't think anybody's expecting as much as we received in the previous biennium. Certainly, the voters have spoken, and there will be no taxes, probably no fee increases, no repealing of exemptions, some good, some bad. I defend many tax exemptions that help attract and keep business in this state, but certainly we need to look at ones that aren't working. But again, the son of 960 that will require a 2/3 vote on any of those measures make it virtually impossible. We roughly addressed half of the problem in the current biennium, half of the deficit. Just in ballpark figures, it was about a $1.2 billion problem. We addressed roughly $600 million of that in the special session. But numbers aside, and those were cuts. I mean, those were $600 million in cuts, and people are affected by those, and I hear from them in my email and letters and calls as well, and folks are struggling. Just one specific example: she's actually a city councilwoman in my district who has a son who was involved in a very rough car accident, needs 24-hour care, and she got a notice from DSHS that the care the state provides would be cut in half, the number of hours of in-home care provided. And that's not a unique situation. That's happening all over the state. Those cuts are real. They're not nameless, faceless bureaucrats. Those are real people that are being affected. And we will have to address probably roughly another $600 million. But the one-day special session, the only silver lining that I see from that was the bipartisanship. That was the first time in my time in the Senate that we actually had bipartisan votes on a large budget package. And I think that, again, a small silver lining, but maybe a good sign for the 2011 session. I'll be on the Ways and Means Committee. I was on it for a few years early in my Senate career, off it for a few years, and now back on during the one of the worst budget crises. Probably not a wise decision on my part, but at the same time, I see my role as a moderate in the legislature to try and keep Republicans, the minority party in the Senate, on board and try and craft a bipartisan solution to what is a very, very difficult problem right now. Continuing with the moderate theme, a group of us last session got together, House and Senate Democrats specifically. We've actually talked to a few Republicans in the interim who are maybe interested in going to our meetings, maybe not, but we'll see. We formed what we called the Roadkill Caucus because we often felt like roadkill in the process, and thought that if we come together, talk about issues that we can agree upon from the middle, maybe we can help moderate the entire legislative process, as opposed to just folks on the far right and the far left getting most of the attention and just kind of throwing stones at each other. We thought, what about working together? Well, as we met, you realize that folks in the middle don't have issues that solidify them, like just the major social and moral issues of the day, abortion rights, pro-choice versus pro-life, pro-death penalty versus anti-death penalty, environmental issues versus business concerns. Those of us in the middle, sometimes we side with the folks right of center, sometimes with folks left of center, and we thought, what's that uniting force? Aside from good government, which I think should be a uniting force for everybody, we started to realize early on that job creation, economic development were something that we could all agree on as we went around the table with the folks in the middle. And so in terms of 2011 priorities, the now newly labeled Moderate Caucus, we decided to call ourselves what we really are, which is moderates, will be first and foremost working to protect the Public Works Trust Fund. It's a revolving fund, started about 20 years ago, and has about $368 million of biennium that it provides for projects, for infrastructure, water, sewer, different paving projects for cities and for counties, things that things that create jobs with the construction process, but also help us keep jobs as they protect our infrastructure. And so we'll be working to make sure that fund isn't swept, because again, I mentioned some of the needs for health care, for in-home care, all-day kindergarten, children's health services, basic health plan, all the things that are being proposed to be cut or completely eliminated. It will be tough to say, well, we've got this construction account, but those of us in the middle, I think, are going to be saying, wait a minute, there's a lot of benefits to preserving those funds, to not sweeping them and keeping them available for statewide for different construction projects. And also, it's interesting, in terms of environmental protection, the Public Works Trust Fund over the last 20 years has provided approximately $600 million specifically for Puget Sound water quality. Whether it was improving sewer and septic situations, fixing runoff situations. The Public Works Trust Fund provides money for that as well. So there are some environmental benefits. It's not just it's those folks that want more smokestacks in this state or something like that. It's like, no, there's a lot of benefits there. Along with the CURB, the Community Economic Revitalization Board. I serve on that board. It was a $20 million biennium program before the 9/11 budget was reduced to $6 million. And I see in the governor's proposed budget, she has roughly $6 million, maybe $6.3 million, to continue to preserve CURB for another 2 years. And I'll be working and fighting to protect that as well. Very similar. CURB often provides the final piece for ports, for counties, for economic development. Again, paving projects, those types of things, maybe a building here or there, but often the final piece, when a business is looking to locate in Washington, those CURB dollars help out and show that the state of Washington is committed to partnering up with them and is going to have some stake involved in their success. So economic development, jobs, and that's another reason with my committee, Agriculture and Rural Economic Development. Certainly, I can't overstate the importance of agriculture to our state's economy, but the rural economic end of it, I want to continue to take on more issues there and see what we can do to continue to advance the economy of rural Washington. And then I've joined the larger Economic Development, Trade, and Innovation Committee, working with Senator Castema, who I've known since he came in the House, I think in 1997. So worked with him for a number of years, and I think we have a good relationship, and we'll continue to work on trade and innovation issues as well there.